Hello, and welcome back to the Cricket Nerds podcast. And look at that cheerful little smile over there from the RCB fan. Because today was a huge day for RCB. Because for the first time in 2 years, they haven't gone out in the first Eliminator. And tell you what a performance. But I'm just going to kick things off by saying the summary of this entire video is catches win matches. So Zach, do you want to talk us through the RCB innings?
Yes, please. Because it started off in the worst possible way with Faf du Plessis getting a golden duck. And after the previous game where Virat Kohli and Faf du Plessis played all right, they got a good partnership to start things off. I thought, we're back. Like those two back at the top of the order, playing how we know they can. And so he went for a golden, which wasn't great. And then Virat Kohli, he also didn't look that convincing for his 25. He only hit 2 boundaries, so he didn't look too fluent. He looked all right for some of his shots, but he could have easily been caught on 2 or 3 occasions. And then Rajat Patidar. I think Glenn Maxwell got out. Mahapal Lomror came in. And by that time, Rajat Patidar was already on a 50. Bearing in mind his highest score in IPL cricket is 52. And then he just went absolutely ballistic for the last 6 overs and got to 112 off 54 balls. One of the best IPL innings I've seen. Yes, he had his luck. He was dropped twice on the way. Lucknow fielded horribly. It was a terrible fielding performance from them. Probably cost them 20 runs in the field, at least, I would say. And then Dinesh Karthik finishing it off, as we've seen him do time after time. In 15 innings, because he's played in every single game, he's finished not out in all but 5. Right, that is ridiculous. It's like 2 every 3 innings, he's finishing not out. And that's why he's there, to finish the innings. That's why we paid him the money. And I think if he wasn't in form, Royal Challengers would have won 2 games this season. So yeah, it's all been down to him.
Just a word on the fielding. Like,
yes,
I'm sure this IPL has been like the most village for fielding of all of the IPLs. Like, I've really noticed it, that there have been so many dollies that have gone down and so many sort of misfields as well that, I feel like more so than usual. And I mean, that drop from KL Rahul was absolutely criminal.
I do have a theory about this though. And it seems very obvious, but it's precisely because there's only 10 teams. Like, because there's only 10 teams, the good players are spread more thinly, which means that there's more worse players around. So that's why we're seeing a little bit of village fielding here, village fielding there. And yeah, like standards just weren't particularly high for Lucknow's fielding, whereas for RCB, they didn't drop a thing really. And that was really the whole story. As you say, Rajat Patidar, what a performance. Like, he single-handedly won that game for that side. But also Lucknow's bowling was a bit lackluster, wasn't it? Like, no one really bowled well, apart from Moishan Khan, who we've highlighted time and time again as a fantastic bowler and a great prospect for the future. No Jason Holder today. Has he gone back to Barbados, or is he not available? Or
no, they dropped him. They basically decided that they weren't going to be able to use him properly for whatever reason. That he was sort of just wasted where he was. So they decided to get enlist the help of a 140 odd mile an hour bowler in Chimera, which, I mean, looking at the scorecard, probably wasn't the right decision. The way he actually bowled, I didn't think was too awful, but I mean, he got all the flack in the last few overs because Karthik and Patidar both got put down a couple of times. So I think realistically, Chimera was potentially the right call, but Lucknow's fielding just let them down. I don't know what you think, Zach.
Well, I actually think they shouldn't have done it. I think, yes, Chimera has got amazing pace, and they were probably thinking maybe he'd unsettle some of those young batsmen in the RCB lineup, but he didn't, because we got 207. And also Holder, he's a he's got more experience. He's a better person to have. He's a cooler head to have in these pressure situations. And he would have, I know hindsight's a big thing, but he would have bowled better than Chameera. He wouldn't have gone for as many runs. He might have picked up the odd wicket. He would especially bowl better at the death, and he's a valuable fielder. So I know Chameera batted all right, but Holder's a better bat overall. So that there are reasons for picking Holder above Chameera every game, but more especially when it's a game that counts, you want to bank on experience more so for these games. But speaking of experience, KL Rahul wasn't able to do it for his team. Benj, break down the Lucknow innings for us.
I mean, it started off in the exact right way that RCB would have wanted, with Quinton de Kock falling early. The man has just come off an 140 not out. So for that was the key wicket. And I think like Siraj, for all the rubbish that he's bowled this season, I think that first over of this game was his best over, and was just so important that he did that. And yeah, then KL Rahul batted as we have come to expect KL Rahul to bat, take all of the strike, score at about 120, 130. He was a bit over that today, but I think he was a little bit slow, which caused his team not to quite get over the line. Had he had a few less balls of strike, or you know, given Deepak Kudar a few more balls, or Manan Vora, who are both striking very well, then maybe they'd have managed to get over the line there. But yeah, it was a very lackluster knock from Rahul. I mean, some quite exciting shots. He swept a few for 6, but overall not great. Deepak Kudar, on the other hand, I thought looked really well, really good, and I think he batted really well. And his partnership with Rahul was massive, and it nearly got them there. And then Stoinis comes in, holds up an end, doesn't really do much himself, and then it was all sort of, they just didn't quite get there in the end, did they? And I think that was more to do with the wizardry of Harshal Patel and Josh Hazlewood as death bowlers than the bad batting of LSG. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, I think look now, if you look at their side, they've got a bit of an issue where they've got at least 3 players that can bat at number 3. And so like Stoinis probably would be a really good number 3. I feel like if you use him in the same way that a lot of teams use Mitchell Marsh, that's probably where you're going to get the most out of Stoinis. So I think, you know, he could have gone at 3. Manan Vora is a 3. And Evan Lewis, I think, is absolutely wasted at 6, because he does take a little bit of time to get himself in. But once he does, you can see, we've seen what he can do, and he can be very destructive. So I thought, Lucknow potentially got it a bit wrong. But yeah, I thought the bowling of RCB was absolutely brilliant. It's for particularly Harshal Patel. I thought Harshal Patel was excellent. He's such a useful player to have, because as soon as the batsman wants to try and hit boundaries, that's where Harshal Patel is the most comfortable. If there's not that much pressure on the batsman, Harshal Patel can be far less effective, because they know that they can, you know, it's easy to sort of farm 2s off his slow bowling or get the odd boundary. But yeah, when they're looking to hit 6s, Harshal Patel he's so difficult to get away, because he gives you nothing on the ball. I don't know what your thoughts were, Zach.
Well, I was obviously very happy with how we finished the innings. There were obviously a couple of worries which had me biting my nails a little bit, and but overall I was happy. I thought Deepak Kudar, when he started going a bit against Mohammad Siraj in the middle, and also he tried to take apart Hasaranga de Silva, who'd bowled a very good first 2 overs, only going for 10 runs. Then he targeted him in his 3rd over, but Hasaranga de Silva, the way he bowls, he's a wicket taker. That's what he does. And he kept lighting it up there. And yes, he got hit for 6 a couple of times, but he managed to get the wicket of Deepak Kudar with a lovely googly, which turned an absolute mile and completely outfoxed Deepak Hooda. And that was probably my favourite ball of the innings. And then at that stage, with Rahul in, I think, Ben, you hit the nail on the head by saying that Rahul just had too many balls to face, which meant that Marcus Stoinis, Evan Lewis, Krunal Pandya, even although he only faced one ball, they didn't have enough balls left. They didn't have the balls to get in and have a go. And I think that's what let them down in the end, because as soon as Rahul got out to a good piece of bowling and a good catch from Shabazz Ahmed, it was over them. And I was so happy that we came home. We're in the next game.
That's huge. Just one more word on KL Rahul. If you look at the amount of balls he faced 58 balls. So that's almost half of the deliveries that you can face in T20. And yet he only got 79, which when they ended up on 193, he didn't even get half of their runs. So if you're going to face half the balls, you want to know, or you need to guarantee that you're going to deliver on at least half of the runs that your team gets. I think that's a relatively good sort of scale to judge yourself on. So it wasn't a good night for KL Rahul, because he dropped the most important catch and then he was too slow in the runs. But hats off to Rajat Patidar for an absolutely astounding performance today. And well done, RCB. So the next match is Rajasthan versus RCB.
The royal performance.
The royal off. And it is quite an exciting one. So let's have some predictions, boys, because we know PD, our cricket nerds analyst, is
it's awesome.
Is going to want to keep it going. So I'm going to kick things off. And as much as it pains me to say it, because I would like to see RCB raise their first trophy, I think that Rajasthan Royals are going to take the dub on this one. Zach, what are your thoughts? A completely objective and non-biased answer, please.
A completely objective, non-biased answer. Well, that's tricky because
Zach plans to be completely biased and non-objective about his current answer.
No, I want RCB to win. I have to predict RCB. As much as I try my best to not be, I have to. And I'm just looking at the performances that Royal Challengers have had against Rajasthan, and I think we've done all right. I feel like we lost the last game against Rajasthan Royals. That's the one where we batted terribly. And the first game we played against them, we won by 4 wickets. So we've won one, lost one this season for Rajasthan Royal Challengers games. So it's neck and neck, but it doesn't really matter what me and James predict. We all know that Benji's prediction is what matters, because if whoever Benji's picks to wins, they're going to lose.
If you say that, it might not happen. They are, so as you say, in the head-to-head, they're 1-1. And as you say, the last time that these two teams faced each other, RCB had a horrendous collapse and couldn't chase down 145. However, moment of truth, drum roll please. I think coming off the back of their last game, Joss Butler back in the runs, it's going to be very hard to see that RCB team coming out on top against Rajasthan. So I'm going to say that Rajasthan to win, qualifier 2, and get the final that we all want against Gujarat.
We love this because as RCB fans, as the emotion that is RCB, we love it when people write us off, because that's when we deliver.
Because they've delivered so many years in a row now.
Go to the final on our own. There we go.
It's just such an RCB's nature to get this far, then bottle it. And
we lost in the Eliminator the last 2 years.
Absolutely see that happening.
I would like RCB to win there. So, comment of the day, which also it's a cricket nerds question, but it doesn't have the hashtag CNQ at the front. But it's just
we'll still count it. Yeah,
it's from Human. We love humour. He said, I remember the video titled, Have Gujarat Already Lost It? Less said about that, the better. How do you wish to seek atonement from Ashish Nehra? Do we know who Ashish Nehra is?
He's the bowling coach, isn't he?
Oh,
and he
right.
came out at the start of the tournament saying that because all the other teams were buying all these players to maybe look 3 or 4 years into the future, and he was like, we build a team to win the tournament now. And they've certainly done that. They've certainly given the belief to a lot of players who are, I guess you could say, IPL fringe players, which is why we wrote them off. Players like David Miller, Matthew Wade, Shub McGill to an extent, and they've delivered. Rahul Tewatia, yeah, and they've delivered. And I think they're a scary team. But I completely forgot what the question was. I just know that it was Ashish Nehra.
How do we wish to seek atonement?
What is atonement?
Atonement.
Atonement, not atonement.
No, not atonement. So, it's a big cricket nerd's apology to you, Mr. Nehra.
Sorry, Ashish.
Because we completely underestimated your team. So I'm very sorry.
Yeah, we did. You are a great man. You have had success in the IPL before with the ball. I remember witnessing it in the season of 2010. So well done to you. And yeah, have a good rest of your IPL that you'll lose to Royal Challengers in the final.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
On that note, goodbye, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to our podcast on Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more.
We're crawling our way to 320.
We are crawling our way to 320 subscribers. Thank you very much for the 310. We really appreciate every one of you. You can follow our social medias. We're at Cricket Nerds Pod. And other than that, it is a very humble thank you and goodbye.